Hey, what's up, everybody? You are listening to another episode of the Netchicks. We are Moll and Liv, and we are here with a brand new Riverdale rundown now that Riverdale finally came back after a couple of weeks. We did not expect it to be as long of a break as it was, but we are definitely excited to see a new
Yeah,
episode.
I'm like mad because I hate the fact that Riverdale does this because it's just annoying. It like messes up my schedule. Like they'll tell
It
you
felt
one day.
sneaky. It
Yeah.
felt so sneaky that it was like 3 weeks, not two. When they
Yeah.
put the date, I would have said in 3 weeks, not
Yeah.
in 2 weeks. Or like
They
I would have not the date. I feel like they should always say in however many weeks if it's not next week.
yeah, I know. They should say like certain amount because but they've done this like multiple times where they'll
Just in
put
the
like a
middle of the
date.
season, it makes no sense.
Yeah. And they'll put a date and then you're like, wait, like it's supposed to come back today, and then it wasn't because that was the same thing with like the whole 90s show episode. That was supposed to be a Halloween episode.
Yeah.
And then they're like, just kidding. It's actually coming back the next week after that. So I don't get it. I really don't understand why Riverdale does it. I know when I watched
I mean,
like
I'm sure
Arrow
it's
and
a
all,
CW thing, not really a
yeah,
Riverdale thing.
no, I agree with that because their seasons like end like an extra like week later than the regular like networks. I don't know how it all works, but it's dumb
Yeah,
because
basically.
I know like all the superhero shows, like all the DC shows, they have like a weird like month break from like April to March or like from in between like March and April. It's just like a weird thing. I don't know, but
It's so bizarre.
whatever. But either way, like even this episode, like this is like such a shitty episode to come back to, I feel like. Because
So
we were given such a great
I
episode. And then
Oh,
this
you didn't
episode.
like this episode?
I thought it was just like a nothing episode.
I wholeheartedly disagree. I feel like there wasn't a lot of action, but I feel like it was very intense.
It was, I guess it was, but I was just so like bored of this episode. I was like, ugh. I don't know why. Like, I maybe it was just because like I was tired or whatever watching it, like stuff like that. But like, I just like wasn't into this episode.
No, I thought it moved really quickly
Yeah,
in the sense that it went like there were a lot of scenes, but the scenes I felt like were short and to the point, and then they moved on to what like the next
yeah.
thing that needed to be discussed.
There were
Yeah.
definitely a lot of short scenes. I don't know. I was just like, I really don't know what I was expecting. Maybe that's what I should really phrase it as. Like, I don't know what I was expecting this episode. First, we have like obviously all four the core four all had four different storylines, which we usually this hasn't happened in a
Well, Veronica and
time.
Jughead definitely had an interlocking
Yes,
storyline. Yeah.
but at the same
They
time,
were
it was
separate.
still
Yeah.
two different things. Like,
Well, so let's talk about them.
yeah. So what's his face is back, like kind of like Freddy-ish. Hiram. I can't even talk today. Yeah, so
I was like,
Hiram,
what are you talking about? What's his
like,
face is being Freddy-ish? I don't know what that means.
no, Hiram's like,
At all.
yeah, he's like back in a
Yeah.
sense, Hiram.
First of
And
all, I like the fact that he has a walking stick or a cane, whatever you
yeah,
want to call it. I
Kane.
think it suits him very well.
Yeah, like I think so too. And now he's like back to being his bad bitch self. He's like, listen, shit happened when I was gone and I need to figure it out pronto. Like, what is going on? So I'm glad that he's back
I
and terrorizing them.
I am liking Veronica more and more.
Yes.
Every week that goes by that her and Archie aren't together is a week that I like her exponentially more.
Yeah,
She was so great in this episode. She was wheeling and dealing and figuring shit out. She was manipulating both of her parents.
oh yeah.
And I am excited at the prospect of her helping Hiram. Because
Yeah.
this is all, I know it's all Hiram has ever wanted. It's all I've ever wanted. I want Veronica to be actually trained to be the predecessor of the family, not the predecessor, the protege of the family, not her
The
just
successor.
assuming that she knows what's going on.
Yeah, no.
Protege is a good word for that.
No, project, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, like they're also like interchangeable.
Okay.
But just when you
I
said
know it sounded like you were
predecessor,
correcting me. I was like,
no,
no, protege is correct.
I meant to like correct when you said like predecessor. I meant like like
Yeah.
successor.
No,
Yeah.
that's definitely what I was thinking of. But yeah, I feel like in the past when she's tried to involve herself in mob dealings, it's felt very forced and fake, and like it seems like she thought she knew more than she actually did, and I'm excited for the idea of her actually learning about it.
Yeah, I I definitely agree. I especially even though like Reggie wasn't in this episode, and like I still liked her because I
Right.
felt at the beginning of the second half of the season, I felt like Reggie was a big component in the reason what made me like Veronica because of their interactions. But now that, she wasn't with Reggie, I did like her a lot this episode. So
Well,
I guess
I think a lot of that had to do with the fact that I think that was calculated. I think a lot of people were I think the writers definitely had to realize that people weren't responding well to Veronica and Archie.
yes.
So it's kind of like, let's have a replacement and her be a badass with this new boy, and then we can kind of wean him off of her being like, having the replacement was important because then it was
Mhm,
like, oh, we like this better than that, so we like this
mhm.
version of Veronica better. And now it's kind of like slowly we're seeing less and less of Reggie, and not because we don't want to see him, I think, but I
Yeah.
think it's because it's like establishing that no, now she's a badass on her own also,
Yeah.
because her character just went down this rabbit hole, and she just, I don't know, she spiraled out of
Yeah.
nowhere. It
100%.
got to be so annoying that they really did need to kind of completely reestablish her to make her authentic.
Yeah, especially since like she's part of the four main characters and she's going to
Exactly.
be
And
here for a
everyone
while.
hated her. Everyone
Hated
freaking
her.
hated her
Absolutely hate
guts.
her. They hated her just as much as they hated Archie at that point.
And then
And
that's two of the main characters that people just straight up hated.
yeah,
You
and
can't
to
have that.
like very like Archie is the show. So I mean like
Exactly.
having that like you need to figure that out. So I'm like glad they finally like put some sense in and made her into an old show because like also if the four main characters were dating each other, that's
Not a show.
not a show. No. Exactly. So they and because of how strong like Betty and Jughead's shippers are, especially they're like so many of them compared to anyone else in the show, and like those are two very popular characters in the show. They kind of have to keep them together for a little bit. But
Something drastic would need to happen for them to get separated.
oh yes, something extremely drastic. Um but yeah, I really don't know how else to say that. I think they're gonna stay for a while. Well, we'll see whatever happens. But speaking of what's her face? Hermione. I missed Hermione. I feel like we haven't seen her in a while, but then again,
I
I
mean,
feel like
she
it's
was
also
barely in this episode, though. She was in
I
a couple
know.
scenes, but it was mostly
Exactly.
Hiram and Veronica. It really
Yeah.
wasn't a lot of Hermione.
Yeah, but I feel like I haven't seen any of the characters again because it's been
We
like so
haven't
long.
seen it in so long.
Yeah. And it's just like it's just throwing me off. But
Go back to season one when Hermione was like the face of the mob for Riverdale.
yeah, a whole season because Hiram wasn't even on the show.
Hiram was in jail.
Yeah.
Isn't that
In
wild?
yeah. How wild is that? And then look how far we've come. That
Yeah.
she's the mayor now, and now I guess the Joneses really have a big component now on Riverdale compared to and much to whatever Hiram's dismay and everything.
Dude,
Like,
Gladys just fucking rolled in and was like, this is mine now. This whole town, mine.
yeah,
Just you.
take it or
In
leave
the
it,
matter of
bitch.
a week. Pause. Can you like turn your gain down or something? I'm hearing so much like feedback. Like things are moving or something, it sounds like.
It might be me. My gain is low.
Okay, well, then you need to like sit still
Okay.
because it's like it's like loud.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, no, she's like, in a matter of a week, let me just take over this entire town, basically. She's been there for like 2 days, it seems. And she's just like, okay, I'm running the show. I am calling the shots. I am manipulating literally everyone who thought they had any kind of power in this town.
Yeah, no, and it's crazy to think how short of a time it is because you could kind of tell in the breakfast scene with Jughead and Jelly Bean and stuff like that. Like,
Yeah, that he's like, oh, you let her drink coffee? So
yeah,
it's like the
so
first morning, I would think.
yeah,
I
exactly.
wish we
So
saw more Jelly Bean this episode. We really didn't see any Jelly Bean.
I have a feeling I'm going to hate her character, so I'm just gonna wean
I
off
know, but
her
I
for a
would
second.
rather know that right now. You know what I mean? I would rather
Yeah.
know that instead of being like, maybe we'll like her, maybe we'll see how this interaction is going. Just that one interaction with her and FP, I was like, I really think I don't like you. I
Yeah.
think I don't.
But like at the same time, I also feel like once we know Jelly Bean, there's gonna be so many scenes with her, and I'm like, I'm just gonna take my time with this.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna lay it
So
out. Whatever.
Jughead had to deal with Gladys, but he also was dealing with Cheryl and Toni.
Yes. Toni, the pretty poisons, we've talked about this last episode, what's gonna happen with them. They've basically took all the girl serpents and made it into their own, or like
Plus
other
some.
women. Yeah, plus
Yeah.
some. And from that whole interaction, just with Toni and Cheryl, like you knew Cheryl kind of half-assed giving Toni the pretty poisons. I think she was trying to do it for her own vendetta.
Well, I just think Cheryl has no concept of sharing.
Yes.
She really just has such little self-awareness, which we saw last time when she basically outed Moose. And
Yeah.
she was like, what? I never said his name. Cheryl and Toni, they're having some not so positive interactions lately. I think they might be maybe on the verge of a rough patch, dare I say?
No, yeah, you're on the right track. They're pretty much on the verge of a rough patch.
Yeah, I just
But
think Toni is the rose-colored glasses are coming off for Toni.
yes.
She's like, wait, is Cheryl a normal person or no?
Yeah. And
Basically.
better like what you said with how Cheryl doesn't know how to share and stuff like that. More importantly, like Cheryl admitted, like this isn't something for her to share. Like this is Toni's because
Right.
Toni wanted to be queen, and we basically had that interaction with Jughead when he went up to Toni and talked about how if you want to come back, like that's totally fine, but like you can't be doing this or whatever. And she's like, I want to be queen, and rightfully so, though. I
I 100% agree. Betty, why does Betty, why,
He was like, I
what?
can't do that. She goes, because of Betty. And I was like, well, why does Betty have to be queen? She doesn't have to be queen just because she's your girlfriend.
Exactly. Like, this is really, it is Toni's birthright.
Yeah, she is a legacy. Like her
And this
whole
has been her
family's.
whole life. She's been involved with the Serpents for a hell of a lot longer than Jughead.
Yeah, especially and hell of like Betty's mom was
Betty's
a serpent,
literally
right? Like
not
that was it.
even in the Serpents.
Yeah,
She
no,
just is the Serpent Queen for some reason. And she's not even. She literally has nothing to do with the Serpents whatsoever this whole season. So it is kind of
yeah,
like, what are you
exactly.
talking about? She was
So
involved in one meeting when they talked about the fact that not the gargoyles, the ghoulies stole their dog. That was
that's
all she
right.
had to do with it. So what? Why? What do you mean you can't do that? I really don't think it's any skin off of Betty's back. If Jughead's like, hey, by the way, like you're not the Serpent Queen. I know you kind of
Oh,
forgot you were anyway because
yeah,
you're all interested in
all
your
over the
mom
place.
being in
Yeah,
a cult and all that, and your dad also is a serial killer.
get
You have a
that?
lot of stuff going on. So maybe gang activity is not really
Like up
shouldn't be
your
so high
alley.
on the
Yeah,
priority list right now. But
yeah,
that's just me.
yeah. But I think they're gonna bring this up for the rest of the season. This whole like her being the queen, because obviously now there's going to be even more of an interaction between the pretty poisons and the serpents. I think it's going to end with probably her joining back the serpents
Yeah,
and being
this
the queen.
reeks of the Great Glee Schism of 2015 or whatever, when they all the girls in the Glee
Oh
Club
yeah, like the third
made their
season,
own. Like obviously
and they
they were gonna
lost.
rejoin. It's obvious that the Pretty Poisons will be reuniting with the Serpents. I would say
Yeah.
by the end of the season, for
Oh
sure.
yeah, definitely by the end of the season, and then Toni will probably end up being queen. I think he's gonna
Yeah,
make that. She's gonna do something, and he's be like, you know what? Or he's gonna step down.
I don't see that.
Yeah, but I don't. I see her
There's too much
just joining.
advantage of him having this position.
Yeah,
Like it is a
especially
lot of stress for him, it seems, but there's just also way too many perks. He just
yeah,
gets way too many advantages for him and all of his friends. And the fact that I think he feels like he needs to have that kind of control, especially with Hireman Town.
yeah. Oh yeah.
And now with his mom involved, he's going to need to have some grip on control. The only way I could see him stepping down would be if he felt like he needed to do that to undermine his mother.
Yeah. I think that might be the case. I think Gladys is going to infiltrate herself into the serpents, and then something's going to happen where he's going to have to step down to do something about
Yeah,
it.
exactly. But we'll see what happens. Overall, I really liked Toni in this episode. I did like
Yeah.
Cheryl, but I could see why all the characters didn't like her.
Yeah. And coming back, like, I did like Toni in this episode because the past couple times we've seen Toni, like, except for the last past episode, she's been so far up Cheryl's ass. Like, like, they've
Exactly.
been too, like, lovey-dovey, and this is not the character we all knew and,
Before
like,
they got
loved about
together.
Toni. Yeah. So now it's starting, like, she, again, like you said, like, the honeymoon phase is over for them. So now they're actually, like, going through an actual relationship, and she's seeing Cheryl for really who she is and her other.
I would like to see them stay together, but I would
Yeah.
like the dynamics to kind of stay the same in that Toni is not just up her ass.
Yeah.
She's actually being herself that we were introduced to, not just, oh, my Antoinette or whatever the hell she calls her.
Yeah.
I can't with that. I can't stomach it. It's disgusting. So,
Yeah. I'm,
whatever.
like, over it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I
But
do like them together. That's the
no,
thing.
yeah,
Yeah.
I like them together, but, like, I feel like this whole show, like, really plays up those freaking, like,
The pet names,
cutesy
the
pet names, and I'm, like,
tea.
over
Like,
it.
it's like they have pillow talk, but in the hallways of
Yeah.
school is really what it feels
Archiekins,
like. Exactly. It's just, it's,
Daddykins.
I can't. All right. Well, on that note, let's talk about Betty. Actually, I don't want to talk about Betty yet. We'll end with
Yeah.
Betty because Betty was way more interesting than Archie.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But
But
let's talk about Archie.
I did like Josie and Archie this episode. I'm still kind of digging
I
this
love
a lot.
Josie. I
I love
love
Josie
Josie
as a
with Archie.
character. And every time, like, I'm thinking on the street, I'm like, her singing, I'm like, if this fucking pilot gets picked up, that's all I'm
I
thinking in
know.
my head. I'm like, she's not even gonna. I mean, great that she's gonna be on another show, like, gonna be a main character.
It's
But
like
I'm
I want
pissed.
the best for her as like a person,
Yeah,
that actress, but at the same time, I really just want this to crash and burn so she can stay on Riverdale.
exactly. I just want her to stay, and that's it.
Yeah.
But I mean, I just thought, like, again, Archie was a dumb bitch in this whole situation. He wants to box, right? So here's Mr. Keller helping him box. I was like, no,
he asked, please help me.
yeah. And he's like, you cannot get into a fight right now
You're
because
not ready.
you're not ready. Like,
Yeah.
you've been fighting, like, in jail. That's it. Like, that's not actual, like, they have no technique to that. There's no really rules.
Yeah, it's like when you go up against people who've actually been trained,
yeah,
they're gonna have the smarts to undermine you, not necessarily just like the brute,
Yeah.
whatever force.
It's not like you're not fighting, like, dirty per se, like, in jail, because there's no really rules to it. Whereas, like, in actual boxing,
no one really learned how to fight. They all, in theory, no one has like the technique, like the training behind. Like, no one really knows strategy. They just know instinct, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And like maybe they have a couple smart moves, but in these kind of matches, it's going to be people who are trained to be fighting with instinct, but also really be developing strategy during the fights. I think is basically was the whole point. And Archie was just like, fuck that. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get involved with the mob.
Yeah, gonna get involved with the mob.
Fixed fights.
Like, because that has helped him so many times beforehand. Like, so many. Yeah, I'll get involved with the mob. From our past ex-girlfriend's father was involved with. See, let's see where that worked out for him. Ended up in the jail. So, anyways, again, a dumb bitch, but now he had to lose because there was so much betting against him. That's just so.
Well, he agreed to that.
Exactly, and he agreed to that.
That
which
was not something that Elio was like, here's your money. Oh, by the way, you definitely have to lose or I'm going to kill you. Elio said, I'm looking for someone who will lose this fight. And Archie said, I'm your guy.
Yeah.
And then he turns around. This is the same kind of thing as when Archie was like, I don't know why I'm in jail. Well, you pleaded guilty for murder. That's why you're in jail. It's like, he says, I will throw the fight. That sounds good to me. And then 2 minutes later, it was like he came out of hypnosis or something and was like, huh? I have to throw the fight. Yeah, Archie, that was literally exactly what you just agreed to, word for
Yeah.
word. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? That is just, I can't with him. He really, it's like talking to a child.
Yeah. He drinks he probably drinks so much dumb bitch juice. I've never actually like seen more of a like if you look up dumb bitch in the dictionary, it's Archie
Archie
Andrews
Andrews, yeah.
because it's just like so ridiculous. Because like sometimes like he'll have a great storyline and he'll kind of work with it. Mostly like in the first season he had better storylines about this, but now like he
Did he,
just
or were we just naive?
no. I
I
think he
mean,
did at some point. Like had he at one point he did have a good storyline where he definitely worked with it and but like I don't know now he's just like
his whole
such a
storyline season one was like, it was like a Troy Bolton storyline.
yeah
Like,
but he wasn't as much of a dumb bitch as he is now for
yeah,
sure.
I don't
He
know,
just gotta
but he, to me, I kind of think that aside from the whole 50s kind of vibe that the whole
Mhm.
town has, he is like the one thing of like an old school wholesome comic book that remains. Like all of his conflicts to me are very vintage, if that makes
Very
sense.
like comic book Archie like they've definitely
Exactly.
picked out
All of his
except
conflicts are very like, gee, I just agreed to take two girls to the sock hop. Whatever will I do? Even though
yeah
you
yeah
just asked both of them. That's
yeah
really how it feels a lot of the time.
yeah it's like that but it has to but like in a twist that it relates to every other character's thing so like
Yeah,
he isn't
exactly.
hit as hard with this new um storyline. So like yeah, like he's not hit with all these new storylines about like mobs and stuff. Like it's just like his like their influence on it, like whatever everyone else's situations influence on him. Like
Yeah,
that how it like works out. If that makes any
exactly.
sense.
No, it
But
does.
yeah, so I agree with that. Like it like oh like taking two girls to sock hop, like oh like my ex-girlfriend's dad doesn't like me type of situation.
Yeah, obviously it's hyped up because she's in the mob, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a lot of like you got yourself into these situations and now you're like,
Yes.
gee golly, whatever will I
Whatever
do?
I'm gonna
That,
do.
yeah, that's how a
Yeah.
lot of it feels. A real problem, on the other hand, his next door neighbor, just right across the driveway,
Yeah.
is dealing with some real cult shit going on.
She's dealing with some deep shit. She's going through
Yeah.
it. Her first of all, that her mom is getting baptized into the farm. We have yet to meet Chad Michael Murray yet. I think we're gonna meet him soon. Hopefully in the next
I
one.
don't know
I
how
don't think
soon it's
so.
actually going to be because it was like just announced.
Yeah,
You know,
it
when
was.
they announced Kelly Ripa, we were waiting for weeks and weeks and weeks, and we were like, is this even real?
Yeah,
So I
I
don't
agree.
know when I feel like it's not going to be till like the end of the season that we meet Chad Michael Murray.
Yeah.
It's a little wild that his kid, what's her name, Evelyn, is just throwing baptisms. Is she baptized? Did someone drown her? I feel like that really is excessive.
I feel like
She's young.
that baptism did not go as planned.
Well,
Slightly.
did it or did it not? Because someone has already died from this, at least one confirmed.
Yes.
So this clearly has happened more than once.
But I have a feeling that majority of like the baptisms, they do drown them like that, but they take them out just before they like fully are reborn. So I think at one point it didn't go as planned because obviously Betty came in and just did that whole CPR situation that wasn't working in the beginning, and I was kind of getting nervous for her. But that's what I mean. Like I think, like you said before, like that one person who came in and started talking about like, oh yeah, someone died. I think you're supposed to like come in, like Polly was supposed to drown her, like lift her up, but I don't think she did it right in time. That's why the whole
No, I completely disagree. I don't think that at all. I think it's a lot. It reminded me a lot of like a Navy SEAL situation where it's like, I don't know if it's actually true, but you know when you always hear those stories about when you're like taking the test to become a Navy SEAL, you have to like literally drown, and then if you live, you're a SEAL, and if you die, you die. Did you ever hear those stories? I don't think that's actually real, but that's
Yeah.
always the rumor. That
Yeah.
to me is what it sounded like. It sounded like we're gonna give it a shot, and if you're strong enough, like spiritual enough to ascend, then you will. And if not, well, that sucks. You're dead. That's what it sounded like to me.
Okay, yeah. I could see that. Now that I'm thinking about it. But
Like when
I
they
don't
throw out the term ascension,
think
what else do we know ascension from? Griffins and
oh, Griffins
gargoyles. So to me, anytime they use the word ascend, I'm like, we're rolling fast and
Yeah.
loose with just being good with homicide here.
Yeah. But I think if Betty didn't step in, I think she would have died.
Yeah, 100%.
So I mean, she
But
probably
it seemed like no one had a problem with that.
no one
They
had
had her sign a
that.
waiver.
Oh yeah, that's right.
You die, it's all good. You're good with that. You signed a waiver.
Yeah. Damn. I don't know. I'm like so over the farm. I've like said this so many times, but like I really
I
like
really
why
am. This whole concept of Alice just being like, no, you didn't save me. The farm
yeah.
did. Well, no, actually, I CPR, that is actually what saved you, by the
Yeah.
way.
No one else came in except
She's literally like calling ambulance and they're all just looking around. Evelyn is crazy, by the way.
oh, she's fucking nuts.
Like literally just the looks she has on her face are insane.
Yeah. Like we talked about this before, but like
That
I never
actress
want to
overacts
yeah, and I
like
just
a
want to punch her in the
motherfucker.
face. Like that's all I want to do to her.
She
Is
really
just give
just
her a
overacts. That is
yeah.
really, I think, what bothered me about Evelyn and why I think she's so fucking nuts is every little thing. I think the script probably says like have an intense look and she's like she is like all into it. Like she just goes so hard for everything. It's so
Yeah, I think so
frustrating.
too. I'm I think the next time she'll really interact with the rest of the students is the musical episode.
Nope.
So,
She in the upcoming attractions, she threatens Betty at school with Kevin standing next to her.
oh yeah, that's right. But I don't think she'll like interact with the rest of the cast
Oh no. Well,
until the
Kevin,
musical.
clearly Kevin.
But I'm talking about like besides anything like Betty related stuff because usually well Kevin used to be always
When has she ever interacted with someone at school though? Never.
never. That's what I'm saying. Like she'll finally
So,
interact with the rest of the school.
okay. So I don't think I understand what you're saying. Like it's
I think once Evelyn kind of interacts with the whole school and stuff like that, I think people are gonna like pick up on
I
other
mean
things at the farm.
they've been in class and stuff with her though.
Yeah, but she's not like actually interacting with kids. You know what I mean? It's really just like
They're just not
she's
showing it, but I think she's
yes,
probably having conversations in school.
yes, but
She
this
has the club in school. She has a farm club in school.
yeah, but that's just the farm. I'm talking about like pertaining like outside farm
She
activities, like
literally
while
already is
Evelyn's
doing that. She came up to Kevin and was like, "Let me set you up with farm people."
no.
She's spreading the farm. Olivia, her entire plot line is the farm. That's her
That's
entire
what I'm
life.
saying.
What's
That's what I'm
being a
saying.
cult.
So that's what it's
No,
being
you're
like
not listening
announced.
to what I'm saying. I'm
No,
saying her entire existence is a cult. So what's she just gonna be like, ooh, that's a cute boy? No, she's not. That's never gonna happen.
That's not what I mean. I'm talking about like I don't know. I'm interested. I said I was more interested in like her interacting with the rest of the cast, not pertaining to
In
like
what
the
way?
whole farm. Well, the whole musical episode, and that's all I was thinking about it. But then you were like, no, she talks to Kevin. I was like, I don't really care about Kevin. Talk about the rest of the cast.
Well,
But
when you say
anyways,
the rest of the cast, other than Betty, I think Kevin's included in that.
yeah, but like that's
She
just
hadn't
one
interacted
person.
with him before this.
But that's
Right.
just like one
But you're
person compared
not
to
just
the
gonna
rest of
wake
the
up one
cast.
day and be like, I'm gonna go to a party with the whole cast. You have to start talking to people.
Yeah, but she's only doing that to interact with people for the farm. So whatever. I'm just gonna.
She's never gonna do anything but interact with people for the farm.
Mm-hmm.
Like hands down, that's gonna be forever. It's
Yeah.
always gonna be like join the farm. Or like it's gonna be Josie being like, oh, Kevin's in the farm? He's my brother now. I'm friends with Evelyn because I'm in the farm because of Kevin. Like it's gonna be that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
She's never gonna not that's what I'm saying. She's in a cult. Like she has no other personality traits except for this cult.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
By the way, the amount of times, not really the cult, obviously, when they throw around the word ascension, everyone watching this show has now like been, all right, here's proof that the farm and Griffin's gargoyle are very connected once that you use the word ascension. But back to that, just real quick, the amount of times these kids just laissez-faire walk into a crack den is insane. Jughead straight up was just strolling through a crack den.
That's true. Yeah.
How many times? I can count just off the top of my head, probably 4 times throughout these 3 seasons that they've just walked through crack dens and been like, oh, here we are in this crack den.
Yeah, the town is so like interwoven with drugs, which is crazy for me to think that, because most like, I guess, like middle class areas like Riverdale aren't so involved with like certain drugs just like that.
Well, listen, obviously there's always an undertone of drug culture pretty much everywhere.
Oh yeah,
in America,
like
I would
there's
say,
definitely undertones,
but it doesn't take over the entire town like this.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like it's so odd, like that they're really enforcing this whole drug storyline, especially in the past 2 seasons. The end of season 1, they kind of talked about it, right?
Yeah, the concept of like the trendy drug is very strange to me. This is something
Jingle
that
Jangle.
Right. It's something that I've actually been thinking about for years, because it's always confused me ever since 21 Jump Street and 22 Jump Street, where they have these like fancy drugs that are like, ooh, it's disguised as candy, like, and it's like, I don't know.
I mean,
like,
obviously,
like cocaine in edible form in like those movies.
It's just a
like
mixture
Adderall.
of chemicals that they all bring. I don't know, like there
I
was
know, but
also
it's just very bizarre. In real life, have you ever heard of anything but like standard drugs? Like, oh, it's
yes.
got a nickname and it's got like a shape.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Like,
yes, I have heard of like other things, especially like, again, it's public health, so I learned a lot, but like it's not as
no, I mean like in the wild.
No, like as I'm saying, like they're the drugs that like are actual like in reality aren't like named these random
That's what I'm saying.
names. They're just like,
it's never like, ooh, crisscross and it's in the shape of an X.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Like it's
just
not,
like,
that's not how life works in
yeah,
real
it's just
life.
like people lacing shit with everything.
Right.
Like that's what it really ends up being. It's not like, like this one drug that like, looks like Molly, but like feels like LSD or something like that. Like, you know what I mean? It's not that. It's just like mostly like interwoven and laced with
Like
all types of shit.
I'm not naive. I understand.
No, yeah. We both went to college.
Yeah. I'm just saying that this fictionalized version of trendy drugs is very obscure to me.
No, it is, it's weird. And especially like with Riverdale, I feel like at times it doesn't fit like the narrative sometimes.
I don't know, just call it heroin, I think.
Yeah.
You know?
Or like, no,
call it cocaine. What are we doing here?
I don't know. I agree with that. Like, I don't understand the whole like trendy drug type of thing, because I mean, at one point, like cocaine was a trendy drug.
No, I get
now
that,
it's not.
but it's like
these are like weird. Like these are
do you know
aren't
what
happy.
I mean though?
No,
I say that. Yeah.
No,
like,
yeah.
It's like the name always corresponds to what it looks like in the like it's just all very bizarre. Jingle Jangle coming in pixie sticks? Yeah. That's insane. And it's like, and I get the concept. Listen, I honestly think that's a very smart way to transfer something that you're going to be like snorting because it's in powder form, for them to just like down it like it really is a pixie stick or like Fun Dips or whatever. I'm like, what the hell is going on? Jingle Jangle? What the fuck? You know, like it's just very bizarre.
Yeah, all outside of it. If someone came up to you and said, I have Jingle Jangle, do you want some? What are you gonna react? How are you gonna react to that? Like, are you gonna think it's a drug?
No.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. So like when they think of
no, I actually probably would, because I'd be like, I've never heard of that, and you're asking me if I want something.
Yeah.
I'd be like, no, I think that's probably a drug that's gonna kill me.
Yeah. Like Jingle Jangle doesn't even sound like cool, I feel like.
No, I know. It sounds like the name of an elf.
Yeah, Jingle Jangle. I'm pretty sure it was an elf. Like,
I think it might be an elf in some kind of movie,
like
shape, or
some
form.
kind of movie.
Yeah.
It was Jingle Jangle. I think they sell it at Trader Joe's.
Oh my god. You're
in
totally
the
right.
Archies, and it was a song.
All right, whatever. There's a lot of jingle jangles in popular culture. I think we're gonna start to wrap up, but before we do just want to give quick thoughts and prayers to our boy Luke Perry. He was hospitalized for
He
a
suffered a
stroke
massive
today.
stroke, which is crazy because he's such a young guy, and hopefully
He
it
looks
all.
good, I thought. So I don't know. Me and my
Same.
mom
I
were
didn't
having a
even know.
whole conversation about it.
Yeah, I didn't even know he was having health issues. But then again, like
Yeah,
strokes come out
exactly.
from so randomly.
So hopefully our boy Fred Andrews, we wish him nothing
Yeah,
but the
all the
best,
best.
your
Exactly.
recovery. And we want him to stay on the show. So we hope he gets better.
Exactly. He's
Yeah.
one of my favorite characters. And Luke Perry watched him in 90210 and seen him other things, so much respect. And he's also going to be in that new uh Tarantino movie with Leo and all them. So hopefully, because he's still got a lot
Hopefully
to live
everything
for.
works out.
Yeah.
We're wishing nothing but the best. But that is going to wrap up this Riverdale rundown.
Mm-hmm.
Next week looks pretty intense.
Yeah,
We'll be here to talk about it next week. And make sure to check out our regular episode on Wednesday.
Yes, this Wednesday came out. Also, the next one we're going to record as well. So hopefully thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next time. Bye.